assumptions we all make about one another. We look at a person and we think we know what they're about. We think we know their story, even though maybe we haven't actually seen them or listened. I have a friend and colleague named Aaron. He has been doing youth ministry longer than I can count. He is well known and well respected. In fact, a couple of you, I know Debbie out there has met him. He helped lead one of the elementary Mount Cross retreats that we took our youth to. He is a phenomenal speaker. I suspect that is why when Pastor Steve was sick, he asked Aaron to fill in for him one Sunday. So Aaron got to this church he had never been at, and he is not ordained, so he wasn't wearing a clerical collar, but he had on a nice collared shirt and dress slacks. I see some of you wearing pretty much the very same outfit. And immediately, a well-meaning member went to greet him. And she sighed and said, "I'm sorry. We don't hand out food on Sunday mornings, only on Thursdays." Aaron took a moment to process, and then he explained that he wasn't there to eat, he was there to preach. The church had a few more people coming by more recently asking for food. Maybe that was the reason. And so when this woman saw a black man who she didn't recognize come into her Lutheran church, well, she didn't mean to be racist or to use her white privilege, but that was what she was doing when she was assuming that he wasn't there to worship. She didn't really see him at all. I think all of us are guilty of trying to categorize people. And when they don't fit into our assumptions, we try to just squish them and make them fit into our boxes and slap a label on them. Sometimes when people are different than us, we secretly relish in hearing the dirt or the gossip on them. I don't know, maybe it makes us feel better about ourselves. I think we especially tend to do this when people are different races than us, or have a different sexual identity, or different political views, or different understanding of their gender identity, or different economic backgrounds, or different cultures and religions. We other each other. We try to force others to live by our moral standards. And we don't always see each other. I wonder how many of us made certain assumptions about this Samaritan woman at the well that we heard about in the gospel this morning. She's been married how many times? And who was this man she was living with now? Scandalous. I'm not sure she's such a great role model. Of course she came to the well at noon when no other women would be around. She must have been so ashamed. But why do we jump to those conclusions? Have we actually seen her? Isn't it quite possible that this woman was tragically widowed multiple times? The mortality rate was so high back then, that wouldn't have been unheard of. Or maybe she had been mistreated by men and divorced by them, left destitute, or dismissed by husbands because she was infertile. Maybe she was stuck in a leave-right marriage where her brother-in-law was forced to care for her. Maybe she carried so much pain that she didn't want to go to the well when other women would just stare at her with those looks of pity. Or maybe she had made certain choices that weren't socially acceptable in that time. Do we even wonder what circumstances led her to that? And do we wonder why we care? Does it make us feel better about ourselves somehow? Notice Jesus never once named her as a sinner. Jesus never called upon her to repent or gave any of us any reason to think that she needed to be forgiven for anything. Jesus sees her, really sees her, and offers her living water, life abundance, and new identity. We may never know what the truth is about this woman's past, but if we spend time trying to figure out if we think she made good choices or not, then we're missing the point. This gospel message for us today is not one about morality. It's about identity. In fact, that's what the vast majority of Scripture is about. Identity. Jesus sees this woman. Even though it wasn't considered socially or morally acceptable for men to be talking with women. Even though it wasn't considered socially or morally acceptable for Jews to come in any sort of contact with Samaritans, they were considered unclean. Even though Jesus' disciples all probably wished that he had avoided that Samaritan town altogether, still Jesus sees this woman. And she sees him. She sees a prophet, the Messiah, the Christ, the one who gives her life. In John's Gospel, this woman is the first person to go out and share the good news, to proclaim Christ. This Samaritan woman is the first Christian preacher. She shares that Jesus sees us and offers us life. No matter our past, no matter our present. Jesus sees our pain, our grief, our guilt, our loneliness, our fears, our secrets. And Jesus frees us from having to be defined by what we've done or what has been done to us. And frees us to be defined by whose we are. Jesus gives us new identity as children of God. And then Jesus flushes away the old stagnant water and fills us with living water. The Gospel of John before us today enlightens us so that when we see each other, especially those who differ from us, we don't need to separate ourselves or have walls that keep us from one another. We can be freed from the sins of our isms, our racism, our sexism, our homophobia, our transphobia, our fear and contempt from those who live differently, have different values, or worship or believe differently than us. We can pause and see each other. Really see each other as brothers and sisters. See, this Samaritan woman is a great role model for us all. We can all go out into the world and share the good news that we are seen and known by the one who gives us new identity as beloved children of God. Amen.